All right, if you're doing creative iMedia, you know exactly what I'm talking about, the asset table. And let's be real, for a lot of people, it's just this confusing thing that eats up marks. Well, it really doesn't have to be that way. Over the next few minutes, we're going to break this whole thing down piece by piece. So does this sound familiar? You're losing marks on the asset table, and you just don't get why. You filled in all the boxes, but your grade? It's just not where you want it to be. You know, the secret is to stop thinking of this as just some boring list of files. It's actually way more important than that. So what is this table really for? Okay, here's the big idea. The asset table is how you prove you've been working like a real media developer. That's it. It's the evidence, the proof, that you actually get all the technical stuff, the legal stuff, and the practical details that go into every single piece of your project. Okay, so let's dive into the single biggest mistake that costs students marks. But here's the good news. Once you know what it is, it's actually super easy to fix. Yeah, does this table look a little bit familiar? Asset, image, properties, JPG, source, Google, legal issues, copyright, use, homepage. Now, listen, here's the thing. None of this is technically wrong, but it's just so vague. It's going to score you almost nothing. It just doesn't show that you really understand what's going on behind the scenes. So the bottom line is this just isn't specific or technical enough. The person marking your work looks at this and has no idea what you actually know. But hey, don't worry, we're going to fix this. And we're going to do it one column at a time. All right, time to get practical. Let's go through this column by column and build the perfect table. Okay, column 1, asset. This one's the easy part, seriously. All you have to do here is put the full exact file name of your asset, and don't forget the file extension. So, for example, it should be header_background.jpg, not just background, or quiz_music.mp3, not just song. You've got to be precise. The name in this box needs to match the file in your project folder exactly. Okay, let's move on to column 2, properties. Now, you're going to want to pay close attention here because this column, this is where most marks are either won or lost. It's all about the nitty-gritty technical details of the file. So, what does that mean? Well, you need to include the file type, like JPG or PNG, the exact file size in KB or MB. For images, you need the dimensions in pixels, like 1920 by 1080, and the resolution, which for stuff on a screen is almost always 72 dpi. And hey, if it's an audio or video file, you absolutely have to put the duration. The rule here is simple. The more technical detail you can pack in, the better. All right, next up is column 3, source. This is all about telling us exactly where you got the asset from. And let me be crystal clear about this. Google is not an answer. So there are 2 possibilities here. First, if you made it yourself, that's a primary source. Just say that. Something like, created by me using Photoshop. Easy. But if you got it from somewhere online, that's a secondary source. And for this, you have to provide both the website's name and the full URL that goes right to the asset. Seriously, that's non-negotiable if you want the top marks. Now we're at legal issues, and listen up, because this is another one of those high mark columns. This is where you really prove that you understand the legal side of being a media creator, and just writing the word copyright is not going to cut it. So here's the deal. If something is copyrighted, you need to say who owns that copyright and that you need their permission to use it. On the other hand, if it's royalty-free or it's under a Creative Commons license, you've got to state that. Mention the specific license and say whether or not you need to give credit, attribution. Getting this right shows a real professional level of understanding. And finally, we've got column 5, use. And I know I sound like a broken record, but the key here is exactly the same as the others. Be specific. You need to describe precisely where in your final product this thing shows up and what it's actually doing there. Just look at this comparison. Saying homepage, way too vague. What is it on the homepage? A much, much better answer is something like used as the header background image on the homepage. See the difference? Same thing for quiz page. Nope. Go with used as background music on the quiz page. You've got to be explicit. Okay, so we've gone through every column. Now let's put it all together and see what a really great, high-scoring example looks like. Just take a second and look at this. This one row brings everything we've just talked about together. The asset name, it's exact. The properties, they're packed with technical details. We've got the file type, the size, the dimensions. The source gives the website name and the full URL. The legal issue is super clear about the license, and the use is perfectly precise. This, right here, this is the gold standard. This is what you should be aiming for. All right, to wrap things up, let's try a little thought experiment. Let's think like an examiner for a second. What is the person marking your work really looking for when they see your asset table? Look, they aren't just ticking off boxes on a checklist. They are looking for solid proof that you get 4 absolutely crucial things. Number 1, you can't just grab whatever you want from the internet. Number 2, you're aware that things have owners. 3, you get how licensing rules work. And 4, you understand your legal responsibilities as a creator. Your detailed table, that's your evidence for all of that. So, if there's just one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. Your asset table is your proof. It proves you know how media files are sourced and used legally, like a professional, in a real-world digital product. And if you get that right, you're not just going to pass. You're going to absolutely smash it.